Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
The first one is recording.
Oh, we started?
We started. It's already happening. I literally was lurking outside your house.
Yes, and I pulled up in a cab.
You pulled up in a cab. I stopped playing Marvel Puzzle Quest.
You were playing it loud. I'm like, who is jamming to what in the hood?
There's no noise.
No, I could hear it outside the car.
That was not me.
It wasn't?
No, that was not Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Oh, okay. I wonder who was...
I love the idea that it could have been loud, though. That's me making that pow-pow noise.
Oh, my God. This is already a horrible start. I feel awful. There's something happening between my breasts and my hip bones.
All right.
Which is like my entire torso.
Right. So your lower torso, where your lady parts are being kept.
And up. High, the whole
above
thing,
that.
the whole range.
Rib pate, like
Just
sort of lower lungs.
Discomfort.
Yes. Sharp pains? Not sharp pains.
Not sharp pains.
I have a degree in political science. Let me see if I can diagnose this. Talk to me.
No, I did go, search my symptoms, and of course, I have a terrible disease.
Of course. Your days are numbered.
Yes.
And I'm so sorry to hear it. I think the internet can be used for good. I don't know if it has
hasn't been for years.
For years.
It was so fun for a while. It was so fun to be on the road and go on AOL, even though it cost me every dollar I made, and just chat with people while I was so lonely in hotel rooms. It was so fucking fun.
Right?
That first connection.
That first connection was great.
Mm-hmm.
There was a billboard that I loved. Did you ever do the AST billboard?
No.
It wasn't
a special
AST.
thing?
That was a special thing. It was called AT. It was a road thing.
Okay.
It was road comics, and
Yeah.
it was a billboard. It was a
Like a
bulletin
physical
board.
billboard
No,
on a
just
street?
like a sort of a it was an internet posting thing, and it would be threads, and everybody
a
would talk.
bulletin board.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thanks for playing.
Oh my God.
It was a billboard. It was an ad for comedy. No, it
Yes,
a
I was
bulletin-
on the AST board. I was more of a lurker because it was LA comedy and I was in New York.
Yeah.
But I was
That's when you were in New York. Yeah,
I was obsessed with any sort of critique of comedy or people's opinions because you never heard it before, and all of a sudden there's these
Right.
groups of people complaining about stuff, and you're like,
complaining about comedy,
Yeah.
and literally talking about comics that you had heard of or seen their headshots.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was like, you know about Tree?
That was
Tree?
amazing.
Yeah, it
for
was always amazing.
a couple years where there wasn't that much going on. I used to think, fucking Rolling Stone covers every dumbass band that does one single,
Right.
and there's these comics that have been doing it for 20 years and no one knows who they are. Like, why don't they cover comedy? And now it's like,
Yeah.
oh, get away.
You stop
Find
covering
something
comedy.
else.
If you could stop
Leave it
talking
alone.
to comics about things.
Did you? This week was crazy.
It was crazy.
Did you watch Nick DiPaolo's special?
Not even on a dare. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. You know that I've met him probably twice. You
I
worked
like
with
him a lot.
You worked with him at Tough Crowd.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
It's I'm sure. Allow me to say he's a nice enough guy, but whatever. I don't know.
Okay, so he this guy
I've
named,
only seen his short sets.
yeah, he's
for-
so fucking funny.
Here's what
Now,
I know.
What?
Is that he's absolutely, this is what I've always assumed.
Yeah.
And the short sets that I've seen have verified this for me.
Yes.
He is not writing for me. I am not his
target? No.
I write comedy for absolutely everyone in the room. Most women comics do, especially of our age.
Yeah.
He has not had that burden.
You are less his target audience than ever. I mean, you could not be less interested.
Every day. True.
I watched it because
you were
I was
friends with them
fascinated. Well,
for
no, I
the
don't watch
longest
a lot
time.
of people's stuff, but I was, because of all the everything that was happening, I was very interested in it.
Well, because of the blowback, because of his weird.
Terrible.
Who made that?
I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't him. He doesn't know how to use Photoshop,
No,
does he?
I don't think so. But it was it was
an ad.
The cover, the CD cover was him. Again,
It wasn't even the CD cover, right? Because it's a Netflix special, right? Am I correct?
no, it's a YouTube special. That's what was
Oh.
interesting too. I was like, is this going to make him money? Like, is that a thing that if you and I, we can't get something on Netflix
Yeah.
or we can't get something on Comedy Central?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to make money from putting it for free on YouTube? Now,
Advertising wise, I think there is, but
Yes.
not a lot of money, I don't think.
it depends.
Unless
It
it's a
totally
million-
depends.
Yeah.
But like, I watched this whole thing, and he only had an ad up front. He didn't have it like every 10 minutes.
Okay.
Which I thought was a missed opportunity, because you have people that are going to hate watch the first 10 minutes, and they're going to get that ad and they'll be like, eh. And then the people that really like that stuff are going to watch the whole hour, and you have 5 more opportunities for ads.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't know.
Right.
That was interesting to me that he didn't do that, but I don't know if that's his choice or not. But
Right. But so the image that was the cover or the
Right.
lead in
Awful.
was him flipping off a
Yes.
group of Me Too protesters and the guy wearing the Black Lives
several different types of protesters.
Right, several different types
Right.
of protesters. And the Black Lives Matter guy is dead.
He'd been shot,
murdered.
mysteriously. I don't think they know who shot him. It's like a thing that's happening to a lot of Black Lives Matter activists. It's like they're just being shot.
They're just being
it's
murdered. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, is there like a serial killer on the loose, or is this just sort of?
That might be called the establishment.
Yeah.
So
But he was also the guy that, I don't know if you guys remember this. Someone, I think it was in Charlottesville, or it was someplace where the Klan was, and somebody had a giant flagpole, and they had a Confederate flag.
Bree
and this
Newsom?
guy, no. It wasn't a flagpole. It was like a giant. It was someone was holding a Confederate flag and
Okay.
a very large pole that they were holding. The thing was, the flag was really high. It seemed like it was 10 or 12 feet off the ground.
Okay.
And this guy, don't know his name off the top of my head right now, and I should, but the guy that, ended
Right.
up being murdered took this running jump over a fence and jumped up and grabbed the flag and pulled it down. And someone
wow.
caught it on video, and it's an amazing,
I do
amazing
vaguely
video.
remember that.
Yeah, so
And,
that's him. So that was
and-
a huge, just it couldn't be a dumber and
gaffe,
more insensitive
to put it
awful.
lightly.
So that that was just really gross. But I was
So that was gross, and he was defensive of it until he wasn't,
right.
and then he was casually apologetic about it. Sort of like, no, I'm sorry that I didn't realize, and
Yeah.
and now move on. And you're like, nope.
Well, you got to be careful. I mean, you have to take the time to, if you're
Yeah.
gonna grab images from the internet, take the time to find out who they are and why you're grabbing them. You're just grabbing a black guy, or you're just grabbing a crying lady. Who is that?
Yeah, who is that?
That's number one. But it was interesting because, like, I think he had a lot of stuff on race that.
Yeah. Oh, did he?
Yes, and it's a couple things. First of all, I think
Was it 4-piece?
No,
Us all
but I
getting
think
together?
had he been on Tough Crowd with these chunks,
Yeah.
and he done them with Patrice and Keith Robinson on the panel, it would have been hilarious because they would have shredded him, and he would have enjoyed being shredded at the same
Right.
time by these guys because they had this
But
friendship.
this was there was no rebuttal.
There's no rebuttal, and there's no one calling him out on anything, and it's a mostly white audience, and so it
And are
starts
they
to get kind of
enjoying it?
yes, get kind of echo chambery, and see here's the thing, and I see this on some comics on the left. You might agree. This guy.
Ugh.
Where you're having a YouTube channel about your political beliefs, and you're only talking to yourself, or you're talking to people that agree with you, and you're not
these
talking
two.
to an audience,
Right.
and you're not having to make an audience laugh, and you
Yeah.
don't have to overcome much, and so you it's very easy, I think, to get just into this. All right, I'm just going to go down this path where everyone agrees with me, and the audience I draw to the club will agree with me, and you cannot get a read on really good material like that if that's what you want.
No, and if that is what you want, and it's weird because, there's a difference between finding an audience and then doing shows for that audience, and also having people in the audience that don't know who you are. Even
Right,
if
yeah.
like when Marie Bamford does it, she makes an announcement. Friends might have brought you. This may not be for you. Don't feel bad if you have to leave. And don't feel bad if you don't enjoy it. But in her heart, she would love for new fans.
Sure, right.
Right? And so I wonder about Nick DiPaolo and these two guys.
And there's others too as well. Yes,
there's
a lot.
all the people. but I think that it's the learned skill of doing the road has always been for us anyway, is to learn how to play the whole room.
Yeah, I mean,
And
as
respond.
soon as we hit the stage, we have resistance.
There's resistance, and you overcome it, and you make sure that if you have a point to make, and if it isn't hate-filled, or if it isn't a TED Talk, right? If it isn't just, oh, by the way, here's my PowerPoint spread.
Yeah.
You will try to find the people that are resisting it. And which is why you'll hear people talk about comics noticing the one person in the audience with their arms folded.
Right.
Because that's who we're all trying to get that person
why?
too.
All these other people like me. Why don't you?
Why don't you? And it's because we want to be likable.
Yeah.
We want to be loved. And I wish he would have done it with Keith Robinson, not Patrice. That would have been inappropriate. He's dead.
Oh my God, Jackie. Oh my God.
Just
calm down.
I wish it made me miss Giraldo, is what it made me miss. Because Greg Giraldo, I worked with him 2 weeks.
Yeah.
1 week, the first week I worked with him, he said, and I quote, "I'm in between cheating on my wife this week." And he was kidding, but he wasn't kidding. And he had just blew $50,000 of money in a weekend.
Oh my God.
On coke and prostitutes and gambling in Vegas, because he had gotten a development deal. And he said that he came to, and there was like 6 messages from his wife at the hotel. And the last one said, "If I don't hear from you by tomorrow, I'm taking the children. You're never going to see them." And it sobered him up for 3 months.
Is this a story that's out there that he would be comfortable
I don't think
having on a podcast?
Sure. I mean, the thing is I think we all know that Greg Giraldo's tragic life was tragic.
Okay.
If his widow now doesn't remember it as that, that's what he told me.
Okay.
And he didn't make himself into the hero of any of that.
Oh, yeah.
He made it. He was literally talking about how horrible he felt.
Oh, yeah. No,
terrible.
he was self-aware, which made it even harder.
Well, he was clearly
when he passed
ill.
away. Yeah.
He was clearly not well. Anyway, but so the Nick DiPaolo thing, I just, he hung out with all those guys, right? He hung out with black comics who chewed him out. He hung out with Greg Giraldo, who was not that guy. He was not Nick DiPaolo.
Yeah.
His stand-up was like the roasts were the meanest things he did.
Right. Yeah.
His straight stand-up was literally just smart.
Yes.
And dark.
Incisive and yeah.
Yeah. But super funny.
Well, the other thing I was thinking when I was watching this stuff is it's 2019 and pop, culture has changed so much in the past 3 years since Trump was elected. Things have moved really quickly, right?
Yes.
And so it's jarring to watch comedy that didn't move ahead with the rest of us. You know what I mean? This is, and every comic's fine to plant their flag and go, "This is who I am, and I'm done. This is me. And so this is my point of view, and that's it." And so I think we're all sort of used to, us and our friends are just trying to push ourselves in a different way and to go, "Oh, you're really going to stay in that
You're
corner.
going to double down."
Yes.
He's really doubling down. It is a weird choice on.
Yeah.
Right. When I look at those guys, when I look at even these guys, right? The guys on the left.
Right.
Where the guys on the left, the guys on the right, men that are our age.
Yes.
Some even a little bit younger.
May I point out? Childless.
Oh, childless men on.
What I do think that when you have a kid, part of you's like, oh, these schools need to be fixed fucking today.
Oh, right.
We don't have time for a revolution, a Bernie. We don't have time for 10 years from now or
Right.
20 years from now. This
Right.
shit needs to get fixed today.
Right.
Because
Infrastructure becomes much more important.
He's going to go to college in 6 years, and I don't want him to have $200,000 in loans.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
let's fucking fix this shit now. So
Right.
I think that there's a practicality that's missing from what I've noticed with these guys.
Right.
In a way.
It is a not as it's not sweeping, but it is
Yeah.
a pattern you have noticed.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
There you go. And I don't think you're wrong. I think that that's an issue, but it does maybe that's what's doing it, because it does confuse me when I see these guys, and you're just like, well, don't you wanna? Don't you want to write new stuff, and don't you want to make like the 25-year-olds love you too? Because I want the 25-year-olds to love me.
Yeah. I want Hari Kondabolo's fans.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yes.
For sure. I want everybody's fans. It was somebody told me a story today. It was Eli Olsberg. I just came from doing the Virgil.
Oh.
And 3 comics of the week were right there.
Cool.
Meredith, Irene, and Caitlin.
Oh, right on.
And
Which Caitlin?
Gil.
Okay.
And so, but Eli Olsberg was also there, and he was telling me he had read an article about Roger Ebert watching Dice Clay's Madison Square Garden performance.
Wow.
Yeah, and Ford Fairlane as well. It was a story about how much Roger Ebert did not enjoy Dice Clay.
Yeah.
And how he watched Ford Fairlane, and he was like, you could tell that he can act. His choices are terrible of the characters he wishes to play.
Yeah.
And I guess in A Star Is Born, which I did not see,
Me
he was
neither.
excellent.
Okay.
And was a really good actor. But I guess Roger Ebert's review of his Madison Square Garden show was a 0, which he had given only once or twice before, and it was always on moral grounds.
Oh, wow.
He couldn't even watch it as art.
Wow.
Because, and he said, and what offended him the most was not it was the choices that Dice made, but it was the fact that the audience laughed for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Which meant that Dice was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of it's that acceptance that I don't want any part of that. You
Yeah.
know, that's not what I want out of stand up. If that's what people want out of stand up, I can't stop them. You know?
It was weird. There was some stuff like in the middle that was really funny. Just
good.
It wasn't connected to politics or
They were
Hillary.
just jokes.
Yeah,
Or Hillary?
Someone pointed
Oh
out
my
that
God,
he
Hillary.
had a chunk about wanting to jerk off to her autopsy phone. I'm like, what? Whatever.
earth
Okay.
is
So he was like,
happening?
but so it was like, yeah, you know, there was funny stuff in the middle, and then at the end, I watched like the
Did he
thank
close
yous
on a
and
dick
stuff.
joke?
I don't remember.
I want him to have closed on a dick joke that doesn't have anything to do with politics.
I don't think
just
so.
because that would have
But
been.
the very last title card was a thank you to President Donald Trump. And it was not ironic, and it was a genuine, like, it's something like the greatest president or something like that. It was like a genuine,
Nick
like,
DiPaolo?
yeah, like a bow to a leader. And it was that was like shocking to me. I can't,
He drank the Kool-Aid sometime in between
I don't,
since you knew him and now?
that was like everything else. I was like, that's him. He's always been like that. And it's
Okay.
just more jarring now because we aren't that
I wonder if
that way
Keith
as much.
Robinson even talks to him anymore.
I'm sure he does. But I mean, it was so strange to for any comic to
Make a political
show fealty to a leader at the end of a.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but at the end of my next special, it's going to be a big bow to Justin Trudeau. And for no other
He's
reason.
problematic now, apparently.
Well, it turns out feet of clay.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, that guy does sit-ups. He's the head of Canada.
He has a canoe.
And you're like, that's not enough. He's probably just a dude who's trying to run for office.
Politician. But yeah, that was really strange. And no, I don't think anyone else pointed it out. Maybe people didn't stick around to watch it, but it was odd. And then this comic named Jake Flores, I don't know if I've met him, but I follow him on Twitter, and he just pointed out that, you know, when you start going down that political road, what's to stop you? There's nothing to stop you. The audience will cheer and they'll make noises. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to stop you. You're saying
like going down that weird right way.
Yeah. And then just to end a comedy special by thanking whoever's currently in office. I loved Obama. I would never thank him at the end of a
No.
You know?
Yeah. Hey,
It's not funny.
No,
it's like it's supposed to be fucking jokes.
Right.
It's not funny.
Yes.
So that was weird.
Yeah.
And that actually was the thing that disturbed me.
well,
And everything else
is
is like, that's, you know, those are.
Well, the thing is you were used to him from the Tough Crowd years,
Yes.
you know? Mm-hmm. And what has happened now, because when was Tough Crowd on?
2003 to 2004.
Okay. So it's been 15 years.
Oh, shit. Really?
I think so.
Yes.
2019?
19 minus 3 is 16.
So-
Fuck.
So 15 years ago, he was edgy, and 2003, right after 9/11,
Yeah.
George W. Bush.
Right.
Yeah. You got to change with the times.
But, you know, some people aren't going to.
No, that's true. Yeah, but
And, they'll...
and I'm not going to watch it, though. I'm not gonna,
They'll find their audience. Everyone gets their audience. But so that's, that was just...
And it was so weird with that photo, and
Yeah,
and then did you see the comic that I sent who made track listings and how he came back at her?
Yeah.
That was so unfortunate. But
Here's the thing. You don't want to... Like, that's my fear. I think every comic's fear is to be made fun of by other comics. Like, to go
except
to the side
when he does
where...
roasts, right?
But
he
I'm just saying, like, there's maybe some younger, maybe more millennial comics that are just outright mocking, and it's like, oh, that hurts,
but he set himself up for it too,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah,
And the track listings were fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And him calling her a nobody that is to half his age.
yeah.
He's twice her age and twice as relevant is what he said. And she goes, "It's so interesting you would find a nobody like me to have this this interaction." And
Jackie, have you never been criticized? It fucking hurts. You got to hunt these people down.
are you kidding me?
You got to squash them.
You don't have to hunt them down. You do not have to.
Everyone must love you, and if they don't, you find them and make them love you.
And make them love you. On that note, let's take a Max Fun break. By the way,
I wondered why you brought out that
the timing?
clock. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Janet Varney, and like many of you, brand new sentient robots excluded, I used to be a teenager. In fact, just about all of my friends were too, including folks like comedian Danielle Radford.
And of course, all of us, you take on that theater accent, and our teacher would say, no, that isn't how people talk.
Right.
Don't do the super theater kid accent. It's the worst. But so when I was doing theater in high school, of course, I immediately was talking about being in the theater.
So join me every week on the JV Club podcast, where I speak with my favorite women artists, innovators, and humans as we reminisce about the past and how it led us to becoming who we are. Find it every Thursday on Maximum Fun.
Well,
Okay.
we're back, and the reason we're back is because, and I'm writing down time code, is because Kyle's coming and we're doing 2 tonight. Yeah. Because I got to go to Portland and with Maria doing Helium, and then we're going to go to Eugene.
Fun. Are you doing a theater in Eugene?
I believe so.
Cool.
Yeah. And
When's
I'm
the last time
hoping-
you went out with Maria? It's been a while, right?
right, it was before the Army run, so it's been 2 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And I believe she's taken July off.
Okay.
I'm trying to get into Helium again. Or I sent him avails
Yeah.
on a Sunday, proving that a Sunday avails send always works.
Yeah.
He emailed me back almost immediately.
That's jarring. I wouldn't want that.
Well, it was great because he said, and he admitted, he was like, yes, I like to book people that fill the room. And I said, well, I see that you book some people who don't fill the room, but you really either like their comedy or you believe that they're going to be a big deal one day. And I would love that if either one of those you were interested in with me. And he said that he had two of his clubs, because it's the Helium guy, right? So he owns 7 clubs.
Oh, man.
And
That's a lot of clubs to not be into, you know?
exact, which is why there is no pride.
Right.
There is no pride in stand-up comedy.
Right.
And so he said that he had, and this is the way I put it, he has shitty rooms adjacent, just smaller, like Yoo-Hoo, the lab. They fit like 60 to 100 people.
Right.
There's one in Raleigh, and there's, which used to
Next
be Good
to
Nights.
Charlie's? Yeah.
Yeah. And in probably the old downtown Crackers, he just opened Indianapolis.
He got crackers?
I assume that's where he went.
Wow.
But that is also a dance club sort of setup. So I don't know. Maybe it isn't.
I hate that someone is gaining power that doesn't seem to care for me. That's very disturbing.
It's enormously rude. It's very, very disturbing.
If he was into me, I'd be like, yeah,
I know.
grab them all.
I'd be so into it. He booked the 6 women, the 10 women he books all fill the room. And the 30 white guys that he books all fill the room too. And then
Maybe
there's
it's
like
a
a
good room
dozen.
and people just show up.
Well, then there's another dozen comics that he books that some of them fill the room and some of them don't. People of color, gay,
You know what?
women.
Lisa Landry told me she would subscribe to clubs' email lists so she could find out who was getting half price tickets, giving half price tickets away, which is really smart.
That is really
It's like,
smart.
oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. It's but I haven't heard from him since, so it was a
Yeah.
good idea. I don't know that it will ever manifest in anything. But yeah, I don't know. So I did several sets this week. I was pretty psyched.
Yeah.
I had to bail on my improv set though,
what happened?
because Maz Jabrani, I guess, went really over. Oh yeah. And I was on the 3rd show. And I had already
big room?
In the big room.
Oh.
And at the improv, and I had already done 2 sets.
Yeah.
On Saturday, I believe it was.
Yes.
So I get there, and my set's at 10:47. Oh, wait, 11:15 show, so 11:40.
Okay.
Is when my set's supposed to be, and I get there at 11:45.
Oh,
and
you got
he-
there an hour early?
Well, for my set, but
Okay.
not for the show,
I
right?
see.
Because the show's supposed to start at 11:15. Maz was just going up for the second show to do an hour.
No.
To do an hour at quarter
Yikes.
to 11.
Was the room full?
Room was totally full.
That's great.
And but his first show, I think it was him and friends, and people must have run late,
Right.
because it didn't. So he got up, a half an hour late, and Caitlin Gill was on that one too, and as was Gary Cannon, and
He's the warm-up guy at Conan.
right, and he came up to me with a big hug, and I'm like, I didn't recognize him. I felt really bad too, because he was like, Jackie, it's me, Gary Cannon. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. and then I hugged him. It was fine. But it was. But I said to Gary, I was like, you get to move up 2 people, because I'm leaving. I'm not going to make it. And then I texted Caitlin the next day, and I said, what time did you get up? And she said 1:45. And that it was really fun when she got up. And those things
LA's
are
turning
fun.
into a late-night comedy town.
Yeah, but I was, and people were still there, I guess, and it all worked. But I felt really bad too, because I left, and she had been hosting a 10 o'clock show at the lab, and right after I left, she came looking for me because one of the other comics didn't show up at the lab, so I missed out on two more sets
Dang,
that night.
that hurts.
My fault.
I was in Sacramento, or I was in
Today.
Grass Valley. Yeah, so
Because you did Flappers this weekend.
Flappers
and
this
Sacramento.
weekend. Yeah, I did Friday late show at Flappers, and then the 8 and the 10:15 on Saturday.
Okay.
The 8 was sold out, and the 10 was pretty full. The Friday show wasn't bad, so it was fun.
Who did Friday first show? Another mom?
Paul Rodriguez. No, Paul Rodriguez.
Another mom, dad?
Yeah.
Another parent?
Yeah, they were fun. It was Carmen featured.
Oh, Carmen Morales? That's
yes.
nice.
And then
MC and a couple of guest sets?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah. We had Dan Telfer and Maxie and a lady named Greg and Brian McDaniel. MC.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. But today, Mother's Day, I had a noon flight to Sacramento.
Wow.
And
that's right.
And then I
had to drive?
I rented a car and drove an hour to Grass Valley. Did a 3 p.m. show.
All right.
Unnatural. Just, I don't want to see people's faces when I perform. And please remind me of this whenever I agree to a show before 7 p.m.
Right. Because was it all with like outdoor lighting? Like, were there windows and it was
it's
daytime?
windows. It's a day thing. It was windows were open and it wasn't in a theater. It was like in a center, but it was full light, full daylight.
Yeah.
And it was fun. And our comic of the week I worked with, she was one of the other acts. She was great. Are we at 30?
And we're at 30 right now. Let's do comic of the week.
Oh, her name is Steph Garcia.
Steph Garcia.
And her Twitter is real Steph Garcia. STEPH, like Steph Curry.
Yep.
And
Garcia, Garcia, but real Steph Garcia.
Really funny. Really funny.
That's so great. Is she San Francisco comic?
No, she's I think she lives in Roseville. She's has a viciousness that I totally dug. And she's really funny, and she's a mom, and I'm like, God, she hates her kids more than I hate mine. What the hell?
I had breakfast today with a friend of mine who is raising her children with so much sarcasm.
Yeah.
It feels almost like child abuse. I was like, the kids are like 6 and 8, and they live in Austin. She was just here for the weekend for some friend of hers kid's bat mitzvah. So we went to breakfast this morning, and she was talking about how her kids are. Oh, she said to one of her sons who's 6, she said, "You're such an AH," and he said, "What does AH stand for?" And she said, "Annoying human." And he came back and like a week later and said, "Mom, it stands for asshole, and thank you very much." And she said, "Well, don't act like one." And I was like, is that an example of
my kid?
parenting?
His feelings get really hurt if I do stuff like that. I once told him he was acting like a jerk, and he got very upset. "You called me a jerk," and then I'm like, "No, my exact phrase was, you're behaving like one."
Right, and don't. And then no one will think that you are a jerk.
Right.
Because the thing is, if you keep behaving like a jerk, it turns out you will turn into a jerk. So
My torso is, I feel like I'm swimming in my own body.
I can't believe we're going to do a second one.
I can't believe it
Should I take
either.
you to the emergency room?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, do you just want sympathy? You may have
I
it.
just wanted to let you know if I'm blinking and not responding, it's because I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay.
So that I had to drive back.
Yeah.
Going the Sacramento airport, the rental car is like 20 minutes from the actual airport,
shuttle?
and then you got to take a shuttle from the airport to your gate. It's a total pain in the ass. I can't believe it's a state capital airport.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
They do have a nice restaurant in there that
really?
I forget where I was routed through. Maybe Seattle a while ago.
Okay.
But I had a meal at this restaurant. I remember the waitress or the server, and she was there this time too tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think she remembered me, but I'm like, yeah, I've had you before.
I had dinner tonight at a taco stand right by the Virgil that got a B.
I have often seen that taco stand and never eaten there.
Well, I don't know. A B, and Eli Olsberg actually said this. He said, it might as well be an F. If it's not an A, they're dead to me. And there's part of me that agrees, but there was another part of me that was genuinely hungry.
It's a van. How
No,
can
not the van.
What?
Exactly. The van wasn't there. The food truck that's usually in front of the Virgil.
Oh, yeah, that's
was
what I thought
not
you meant.
there. It turns out if you cross the street the other way, there is a taqueria. A taquerio, Spanish is my first language.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a building, and it's been there forever.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think I've walked by it.
Yeah, and they have food. And so I walk up, I see the bee, I see that they have pieces of chicken on the menu, and I see that there is a large stainless steel, open to the air bucket of chicken that's cooked, but being cold, sitting next to the grill, which is off, that will then, I assume, be taken into the building and reheated. And I was like, oh, I guess I won't be having the chicken because it's just setting out in the exhaust of humanity.
What kind of pussies have we become where our chicken has to be
Freshly cooked?
all the time? It can't be cold. Chicken can't get cold. What's a microwave for?
How about if it's covered?
Jackie.
Wow, this is unforeseen. I didn't know you were going to be the one to defend this place. So I got a quesadilla. Anyway, it was fine.
That sounds delicious.
There's absolutely no way to ruin a quesadilla. There's a way to make a great quesadilla, but a shitty quesadilla is still a quesadilla.
Right.
It's still
Just
cheese
cheese. Yeah.
and chicken and a tortilla.
Yeah,
So
beans,
my lives are
something
complete.
like that. There was this, we couldn't talk about it, but there was this lawsuit against Conan
Yes.
where this has been it's been 4 years of this
Really?
stuff. Yeah. Where this guy, a comedy writer,
Yeah.
accused the monologue team, which would be
you.
it's Conan.
Yep.
I wasn't one of the writers whose jokes he wrote the same, but
Yeah.
but 3 different comedy writers.
Yeah.
And that, okay, you stole that joke from me.
Right.
And
I read the article.
it was
I read
so,
the joke
first of all,
referenced.
the joke. I mean, here's the thing, and I wanted to tie this to DePaulo too a little bit,
Okay.
where like jokes, most comedy does not last. It doesn't. A year
Especially
later,
a monologue joke.
monologue jokes don't even last a day. Like
Right.
the next day, it's like, I saw 20 versions of that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Nothing lasts. So for us to have to like keep rehashing these 3 jokes that we would never even do now because
Right.
it's like, oh my God, is there really a lawsuit over this? A fucking Washington Monument is a dick joke? Really?
That was the one that I read. I was like, Washington Monument as a dick joke? As soon as the Washington
Yes.
Monument was built, it has been a dick joke.
Yes, I know.
Who's getting in Zachary Taylor's face? Nobody. Anyway.
Wow, good presidential reference there.
Except the fact I think it was after that.
Who knows? But here's the point: it's ridiculous, and
Yeah, that's
and
nuts.
the amount of the frustration and just
You don't want to rehash jokes you liked.
no and
they're
annoyance and having the word thief and steal associated with your name because this
Yeah, that's
one
brutal.
person can't imagine that.
Somebody else came up with a dick joke.
Yeah. And it's weird. We had so many examples because we started keeping track of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So many examples of like we would write, like when we write jokes, we email them to the writer's assistant so they have a timestamp on it. Right.
Right.
So it's like, okay, we did that joke on the show. It was written at 11:06.
Okay.
And like we can prove we
okay.
wrote it before you wrote your thing on your blog that we don't follow because we don't know you. But the idea that we're like trolling, looking for other people's jokes is bananas. It's
Right.
not how any of us write,
Right.
So it was just so frustrating to have this go on and on and on.
Is it over?
Yeah, it's over.
Oh, that's why you could talk about it.
Yes. Yeah. And Conan wrote this really cool, really great op-ed for the Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, really?
About the whole thing.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry that I missed that.
Oh, it's still available on the internet.
No,
Hi,
I'm going
Kyle.
to. Kyle Clark, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Clark is in the building. It's an opportunity for him to laugh at something, maybe. There's a large bug that came in with you right there. It's gone now.
He'll go away.
Okay.
But
So-
it was just super super taxing on everybody. There was
Right.
going to be a trial.
4
And then you
years?
have to like you hope a judge and a jury understands jokes and monologue jokes and how Twitter, hastens everything. And by the end of the day, I mean, how many times did you see people go, "Oh, now Louis cares about consent with his copyright
right.
thing?"
Yeah.
Like it was hack an hour after the copyright thing was released,
Right. Yeah.
We're all feasting on the same fucking 5 stories.
Right.
So the idea that it's
Right.
it's really annoying.
Right, it has to be super. You have to get it in quick, and then you have to know that it's going to be picked up by hundreds of people in moments.
Yeah, and it's weird. And one of the jokes was a Caitlyn Jenner joke.
Yeah,
and now we would never do it. You
right,
know,
it just wouldn't happen.
It's weird because audiences are changing so quickly. Comedy does not lead an audience. We follow the audience, right?
Right.
We tell the jokes we can get away with, and then when they stop working, we drop them, right?
Yes.
And so there's like a lot of, if you watch old monologues, you could go back to the Tonight Show with Carson and then just keep going forward. There's so many jokes that you just like, oh my God, did they really say that?
Right.
And so, it's so weird that we're like having to defend a joke we would not even do anymore.
Right.
Because it's just that was 2015 and it's 4 years later.
Right.
Everything's changed.
Very much so. What happened? How did it end?
We settled and paid a very small amount.
Good.
Yeah.
Just to stop
both sides
talking
could
about
talk
it.
and say exactly what happened.
Right. Can we please stop thinking about this? You may have a small check. Go away.
Mm-hmm. I think most of it went to his legal fees or something.
right.
But it was just it was appalling.
Well,
It's appalling to be called a thief,
right. Well, now how does it relate to DiPolo?
I only thought it kind of related because
Of changing.
some of his material may have, even 10 years ago, it would have just been considered dark or edgy or something like that. And now, for some people, it really stands out as like tone
Cruel
deaf.
and stupid. Yeah. Oh, no? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm putting words in your mouth. Yeah, well, and weirdly enough, the thing that I have to piggyback on that is Irene Tu and Caitlin Gill. Irene goes up before me at the Virgil tonight, and then she comes up and and I said, hey, I have a joke about all any, they, them, gender thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want you to know that you're about to hear it, and it's nothing.
Does she have one too?
Yeah, because she had one, and it was a different experience. And,
Right.
And she said, "Oh, I can't wait to hear it." And then after
No one means that, by the way.
There you go, Kyle Clark's in the house, and so I finished my set.
Carmen said, "Oh, I have a joke about raping men," and I'm like, "Okay."
See,
even though it was nothing like mine
at all,
I was like,
nothing like.
All right.
Well, that's the whole thing because, and then Caitlin comes up to me after my set and goes, "Hey, I have a joke about poor people and rich people's food and things like. Just so you know, I'm not.
Yeah,
it's just parallel thought." And I was like, "Of course it is." And then she told me, and I was like, "Yeah, it's nothing. It doesn't have anything to do. It's also an excellent reason to farm a joke into into a conversation without." Farming it into the conversation where you can just tell the joke. Like if somebody says, "Oh, I have a bit that I'm working on," you're
right.
Allow me to tell you my angle. I did not do that to Irene because I was up next. I did not have to do that. If she wanted to hear it, she would hang.
I was up at Bar Lubitsch, and this a comic was emceeing, and he had a joke that's it was like the beginning of a setup of one of my jokes,
right?
And I was like, oh my God.
Right, you had a small panic attack.
I did. I told him, I said, I have the same reference. I almost flip it. Mine's kind of flipped from yours, but it's, I thought it's the same.
Right.
And I was like, do I draw? I mean, I've been doing mine for months, and we just met. So it's not like it just, it's parallel.
Right.
And
there's only 12 topics.
I know.
Everybody's talking about the same dozen things.
Yeah. So mine's like woven into, it's like the third rung on a ladder that keeps getting higher. So I'm not taking it away.
No.
It's like, it's in.
Yeah.
So that'll just, they'll just coexist, I guess.
Right. And almost everything will. Hey, let's take another break for Max Fun. Good times. And Kyle, I wrote down the time code of when the previous break was. I'm an angel, but I'm going to stop caring.
Hi, I'm Biz.
And I'm Teresa.
And we host One Bad Mother, a comedy podcast about parenting. Whether you are a parent or just know kids exist in the world, join us each week as we honestly share what it's like to be a parent. And then that's how my day starts.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm so sick of it. When is that going to be over? Like, I want it to stop.
Teresa, you're hurting my ears.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, no,
I just hate it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It sucks.
It really sucks.
So join us each week as we judge less, laugh more, and remind you that you are doing a great job.
Find us on MaximumFun.org, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Because you're here. And I don't have to. Yeah, I don't know. What else? So I'm going to go to Portland and Eugene. I'm looking forward to it. I keep writing new material, and I love writing new material. But when am I going to do the new album if I don't work on the old material and make it tight enough to put on an album?
Well,
so
it seems like you have a lot of opportunities this week.
It's going to be fine. They're all 25s, though. They're not 45s.
Oh.
But I did... Oh, and...
Are they one show a night, or are you doing two? What if you did two separate 25-minute sets on your Friday and Saturdays?
well, I could do that. Yeah. It's... Yeah, there's workarounds. That'd be a good idea. You know, one time when I first used to open for Maria, and it was back in like 2001, and then right around 2006 or 7, I was in a place. I went with her to Montreal, and Montreal hadn't brought me there in 1,000 generations.
Montreal,
and she was doing 2 full weeks of headlines.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
In Montreal?
In Montreal for the festival.
Same room?
Yep, every night.
Ooh, that's tough.
And
because she's probably going to get people coming back, right? You would think?
I don't know, but was it 2 weeks or was it 1 week? I can't remember. It was so many
That's
shows.
a long time, because Montreal is 1 week is Canadian, one week is French, is 1 week is English. I would be shocked.
But the Just for Laughs goes for so long
Yeah.
that it was, I believe, the 2 weeks before any of the Real Haircuts showed up.
Okay.
So I think they only came at the end. And so the overlap was so that the Muckety Mucks could watch her do the hour at the end. And by the second show, I was so bored I was like, and I was only doing 15 to 20s, I think. And I decided to do a different 15 minutes every show for the next 12 shows. And by the last show, the guy whose name I'm spacing, who books Montreal or
Robbie?
did. Yeah.
Robbie. He's at Netflix now.
Oh, is he? He came in and he was like, hey, I heard you haven't been repeating any material. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, that's great. Do you have that much material? And I was like, well, that got insulting right there at the end. Yes, I have that much material. And I was like, yeah, you should bring me back to headline my own damn thing. And he never did. But but it was an excellent it's a really good exercise to just see what you could open with and what you can close with.
Yeah, it's good to
if you don't repeat the same material.
See what things could open, and you think they're jokes that belong in the middle of your act, and you can open with them.
One of the Army,
or you can't.
One of the jokes that I wrote for the Army, from the Army run that I just did, Nate Craig, I did Dynasty typewriter last night, and he tweeted at me. He was like, "That joke could be the great opening to a late night set," and I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting idea." And that's always. I love a suggestion like that.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, because I'm just writing jokes, right? And I'm not always thinking.
You can't see them.
Not from inside. Where would that go?
I brought back an old joke that it's this joke where I took it a different way, and it only works at Flappers, which is a huge waste of my time.
It only works at Flappers?
Yes.
That's weird. Oh, because it's Armenian somehow?
Yeah. Yeah, but the other way is a 9/11 joke. So it's like either it
have to
only
be in New York,
either
or
it destroys in Burbank, or it gets an ooh everywhere else. So, but I think maybe here's what I think. I think maybe so much has happened since Trump took office that 9/11 feels like so far away.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a modern tragedy like it did just even 10 years ago, like a current one, you
Right.
know? It feels really far away.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think maybe as a reference, it's people are automatically going to seize up on it. But I could be wrong because I just brought it back again and I tightened it up a lot too.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think, I mean, if you think about it, 9/11, of course, was almost 20 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And there's people, I mean, I'm sure they just, it's going to be canonized. You know, it was immortalized, and then now it's being mocked by the 19 and 20-year-olds.
Well,
but then, like,
look at, I mean, Pearl Harbor's the same way. It's just like a fucking joke now. And
Right.
they were, you know, kamikaze pilots were dropping all over Hawaii.
Right.
Many people were killed. It was fucking horrible.
Right.
And it never happened to this country before. And people freaked out. And
Right.
we're like, December 7th.
By 1952, everyone was like, you know, so it was 41, 51, 61. I bet you in 1961, everyone was like, yada, 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 December 7th, whatever.
Definitely after Kennedy died. It was like, oh, those quaint old times of
I
Japanese
think my
attacks.
dad and my stepmother had a joke about it. It was something about Eartha Kitt. It was a weird old timey
I
reference.
can't even make that happen in my head.
Well, it was it was, you know,
Eartha Kitt and a Pearl Harbor
it
joke?
was not Eartha Kitt. It was Pearl Bailey.
Oh.
It was about
okay.
going down on Pearl Bailey.
Okay.
And I was like, Nancy Cation, hello, happy Mother's Day. Why would you tell me that joke? I'm a 15-year-old woman child. And I don't even know what oral sex is. I asked her once what oral sex was, and she was like, oh, that's funny. And then she said to my sister, she goes, Darla, Jackie doesn't know what oral sex is.
Oh, my God.
And then they just laughed at me. Darla, I'm sure, laughed and like,
What a gentle, loving
Christ.
family.
Very supportive.
What was I going to say? This is awful news. The Punchline in San Francisco is closing.
Right, because Google bought the whole block or
I guess
something,
so.
right?
I don't know 100%, but they lost their lease. So they've been there 40 years. I mean, every comic from San Francisco, that's your home club.
Right.
You know? It's really...
She's only booked me there once. I can't be that sad.
Well, you know, allow me to have a little pain that you can't join in on. I'm sorry.
Irene, too, was devastated as well.
It's awful.
But it's also...
There's no way to replicate it. It's on top of the Embarcadero. It's just a
it's
ritual.
on top of that weird building that you're like, how do I even get up here?
How dare you insult
It's like
my
the
home city.
future of the Planet of the Apes. Well, the thing is, they're going to move it to Walnut Creek.
No, they aren't.
I really want them to.
Here's the thing. There used to be a Walnut Creek Punchline.
That's what Irene too said.
Yeah. Can you stop replicating your previous conversations for this podcast?
Nope. We're almost done.
With this one, we have to do another one because of your travel schedule.
Well, not just me.
Kyle.
Yeah, just me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Kyle. Where are you going, Kyle?
Game of Thrones last episode is next week.
Oh, next week Sunday is the Game of Thrones. Yeah. Right. Well,
we're doing
we
another
going to
one.
do it on
doesn't
Sunday
matter.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm in.
I was like, really? It was going to be a TV reason? Anyway, so no, I'm very sorry for your loss. Thoughts and prayers. Anyway.
What a dick.
Do you think
It's a real loss.
It is a real...
It's one of the oldest comedy clubs in the country.
Do you think it's a bigger loss than the move from Cobb's to Giant Cobb's?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Ah,
Yes.
Little Cobb's was the best.
It was the best. But that's just, it's another stake in the heart. Like, first the zoo closes, right? Holy City Zoo. Then Cobb's moves. And now this. This is awful. It really is awful. I don't
like
know
Doc
where they're going to
Lab,
find
too.
a place. How you're going to find a place that's affordable in San Francisco to
You are
put up
not.
a club? I mean, it's fucking ridiculous there
You're
now.
not. I mean,
this
do you
city
think
is
there'll be one of-
ruined. It's being ruined. I mean, this isn't the first indicator, but it's just like, God
Right.
damn it, the Punchline can't survive this fucking tech boom.
They're doing well, too. That's what I heard, is that
The
they were
Punchline?
actually... Yeah, the Punchline was doing well. But
Yeah.
they must have had... I mean, here was one of the things I heard was that they probably had a lease that was all sort of settled back in the day, right?
Oh, sure.
And so that they were on some sort of fixed rate.
Right.
They probably got a buyout I'm sure they got a buyout, and it's Live Nation.
Well, if your lease is up, you don't have to get a buyout. You just are kicked out.
Did you hear it was a lease?
I heard the lease was up.
Oh, well, that is too bad then. But
Yeah.
but it is Live Nation. Live Nation has a giant bag of money, but they're going to move it probably to somewhere that might not have the good dank.
Well,
because that room actually, once you found
it's
the
just
goddamn
like little
club.
sparkling pink, beautiful club on top of the Embarcadero. I've got a million memories.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what they're going to turn it into. I can't imagine clomping up those stairs and not going into the Punchline. Fuck.
Was there an elevator? No. I'm
Nope.
kidding.
Escalator.
There was an escalator?
Yeah.
Over on the side?
Yeah.
It was, I remember going, the first time I went there, I was like, is anyone even going to find this place? Because it was so weirdly, it's like open, it looks like an office park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it
was full once you got in.
closes down at night because it's shops and stuff like that. But the Punchline, of course, is open.
But
at
it's in the
night.
financial district, so it's because the Embarcadero I thought was like 2 blocks toward the
it's close.
Bay.
Yeah, it's close to all that.
but it's like the FIDI.
oh God, please stop it. If you're this close from saying Frisco, and then this podcast is over.
I'll say Frisco if I want.
But
Maybe they'll move to Fresno.
Jackie,
That's 6
just
hours
stop.
from San Francisco.
Just stop.
All right. What about
I did
Yuba City?
suggest. Listen,
Anyway,
no. When the Punchline closed, I was on stage, and Michael Meehan, who's this really hilarious comic.
yeah,
Do you know
isn't
Michael
he
Meehan?
Three Brothers?
Yes, the Meehan
Meehan
brothers.
brothers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I forgot their names.
Michael Howard. I don't know I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head.
They're adorable.
They're really funny
and really good guys.
and strange and creative, and you
and
can't
twisty and
yeah.
yeah.
Just really oddballs, and super funny. Like,
I did Last Comic with them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So I was on stage. Mike Meehan jumped on stage naked.
Oh, that's
and then
funny.
they took the local paper, the Contra Costa Times, took a picture and put it in the paper.
Of you and him.
Yeah, and
He not clothed.
right.
You.
So I insist. I hope that on one of the Punchline San Francisco's last nights, I can do a set, and then Michael Meehan will jump on stage naked again,
Oh, there you go. Wow.
and then we take it to Sacramento.
Just start doing the road. You and him.
Well, there's a Punchline in Sacramento.
Right. So so now there's just Cobb's and the Punchline in Sacramento, and San Francisco's closed, and then there's a Punchline in. What else does Live Nation own?
I don't know. There's a bunch of Tommy T's out there, and
Rooster T. Feathers.
Roosters. Now I'm obsessed with Roosters. I'm like, they own land in Sunnyvale, which is.
Do they own that plot?
I don't know if they own it. I mean, that is one of the oldest comedy clubs in the country
there
as well.
next
Like
month.
in the late 70s, it was open in the late 70s,
Yeah.
early 70s, and they did comedy like once a night, and it was a music place. So, like, do they own that building, or do they have a lease?
It feels weird that they're
because
still there.
I know that land must be so fucking valuable that it's sitting on.
Well, and it's right around. I mean, it's right next to this weird auto thing, and then around the corner from that.
But there's a huge mall across the street and apartments and stuff like that. And I
Yeah,
mean, it's
an odd duck.
It's worrisome.
Right?
you
Because
know?
you don't want to. You don't break it.
No,
Yeah,
I
leave it.
know.
Yep, I know.
Don't everything go away?
Right, that would be weird. But can we go away soon? Oh, 4 more minutes.
All right.
Look how close we are.
We are very close.
We're very close.
Yeah.
What do you got this week?
Oh, I'm in Palm Springs on Saturday night.
really?
Yes. I'm doing. Oh, I should know the gig. Hold on. I just know the hotel.
Oh, okay. You know where you're staying? And it's a one-nighter in Palm Springs that has a hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, I would
It's
do that.
It's not a recurring one nighter. It's like a convention of some type.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last time there was a hotel in Palm Springs where I did a gig, the hotel was like a Red Roof Inn.
I'm staying at a Hilton.
Oh, is it a Hilton property?
I believe I am. But here's the point: is you know what? If you guys are near Palm Springs, I will be tweeting about this heavily starting like Wednesday.
And
then you can come
Laurie
to the show.
Kilmartin's Twitter handle is AnyLaurie16.
Yeah, so please come to the show. I'd really appreciate it. Yeah. And then the rest of the week, I have spots every night. Monday through Friday.
I'm doing Hot Tub. What'll be tonight?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Hot Tub will be fun.
I think I'm doing Flappers. I'm at Flappers tonight on Monday night, and then I'm doing Witch Hunt after that. I'm doing a late.
I just
one on
did Witch Hunt.
Then I'm not doing Witch Hunt because it's not 2 nights, right?
Right.
No,
it's just tonight.
What am I doing?
I'm doing Bark on Wednesday, and I'm doing Dan Telfer's Lyric Hyperion.
I'm sorry, I'm doing Mermaid Hour.
Oh,
tomorrow
nice.
night. Yes.
Mermaid Hour, super
Oh,
fun.
the Lyric that'll be great. He gets a really good crowd.
That's cool.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm also doing Nerd Poker. Going to play D&D with Brian Posehn for his podcast tomorrow night as well. And I'm going to be playing my character. I have to figure out how to change the level. The name of my character, Gaston Mansplain. And he is a fighter, and all he does is, besides hitting people with his sword, is he re-explains whatever other characters have just explained. It's really, really annoying and very fun to play.
Have I maintained a face that displays interest?
I'm hanging up.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.